Hello, and welcome to Life and Life Sciences. As the name entails, over a series of interesting and interactive chats, I'll be sitting down with leaders from some of the most innovative startups, all the way to massive global players across pharma, biotech, and med device to discuss both their life and their sciences. So first to join me today is Calum Stevens. He is a commercial director of a fantastic little company called BDD Pharma. I first connected with Calum probably about 6-7 months ago due to a personal interest in the work the guys are doing over there. But yeah, Calum, look, before we get into it, obviously we're kind of mid-Feb or start of Feb. How has your 2021 started?
Well, all things considered, not too bad, Stephen. Thanks for having me on, and thanks also for calling me a leader. It doesn't happen very often. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's no point going into the whole COVID thing. It's as good as it can be. We're in a better position now than I think we were at any time in the last sort of 12 months. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
We're on the up.
How are you getting on with the kids? I believe you've got 2 children at home.
Two children at home, yeah, and they're not at nursery; they're at home. That's a real struggle. Both my wife and I are working. My wife's a high school teacher, so yeah, it's a tricky one.
No, I can imagine. To be fair, I'm lucky enough. Well, not I wouldn't say lucky enough to not have kids, but I don't have kids myself, so I've not had to,
you don't have that
not
challenge.
have to witness this. I've certainly seen some struggle over over Zoom calls.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
It is, no, absolutely. Well, yeah, look, really glad to hear, your year's off to a good start. From chatting with you, there's certainly some great things on the horizon for BDD. So I guess for anyone that might not know, do you want to give us a quick intro into, what it is BDD do as a whole? A little bit about your journey there, really.
Sure. So BDD as a whole, we're an innovative pharmaceutical company. We're reasonably small, which makes us sort of nimble. We have in a nutshell, we have two basic arms to the company. We have a formulation, oral solid dose innovation formulation arm, and we also have a clinical piece as well. And the two can also work hand in hand. The clinical piece is focused on getting people sort of from formulation to market, getting that clinical piece as shrunk down as possible. We call it BDD SWIFT. So we can do adaptive clinical trials where we can pen out a framework, work within it, and adapt the trial from week to week as we get the results in. So it just gives you a much better chance of getting that good clinical outcome at the end, rather than having to reset and do a whole new trial, which is nobody ever wants to do that.
No.
And the other side, our formulation side, we have our own IP, which is oral solid dose. It's tab and tab technology, and in a nutshell, it's a time release technology. So it's independent of pH, independent of physiological variables, agitation, disease state, and it releases in over time consistently, no matter where it is in the gastroenteric system. So,
and is that Calum, just to jump in, that's OralogiK, isn't it?
That is OralogiK. Yeah, it is exactly that. And we can do some sort of clever things in terms of delaying releases to target certain times, maybe pre-wake up. We can have a dose that we take at nighttime to release before wake up, rather than having to take your medication at wake up when the horse is already bolted. And we can also do some clever things with colonic targeting. So if we enteric coat our OralogiK product, and we put around a 4-hour delay on the product, we can target release of drug in the colon, which is a really cool feature.
I think one of the kind of, again, I mentioned at the start, through to a personal interest in what you guys do, and obviously not to name names and drop people in, but quite a few people close to me suffer from colitis, which is obviously an issue with the colon. So it's obviously really interesting to keep up to date with what's going on. And what you guys are doing in that space. And I think when we spoke initially, you mentioned that you can kind of do tab within tab, can't you? So you can have...
so the technology is tab and tab. So our outer layer, as it were, is an erodible barrier layer. So it's a compression layer. So it's not a spray coating or anything. It is actually tab and tab. But it erodes consistently throughout the GI system. And it, like I said, it doesn't matter where it is. It erodes at a constant rate, and from patient to patient, that's what we've seen. We've had it in humans for hundreds of times, and we've done 3 specific colon targeting campaigns, and they've all been really successful. We've managed to target the colon and release there every time. So, and we quantify that with gamma scintigraphy, which we do in-house, our clinical arm. So 2 different sides of the business, but equally sort of hand in hand.
Yeah, you can certainly see the value, I guess, of OralogiK as well, not just from, you know, a kind of medical standpoint, but also for ease. You know, if people, I guess, aren't a fan of taking a handful of tablets.
Yeah, so that's a huge one, is patient compliance. We can put multiple drugs in one tablet separated by time. So if somebody had a complex dosage regime, the more complex it gets, that's where you start to get into the realms of non-compliance with patients. Yeah. So if we can make, you know, what could be a 3 tablets at slightly different times, so we can make that 1 a day, then that's fantastic for patients.
No, it does sound superb. Certainly, you can see the value from the outset. And you mentioned kind of time release. You know, so obviously for the colon, you can have a time release after 4 hours. Sure. Is there, you know, has it been kind of driven down to, you know, a 15-minute period or a half an hour period, or is it more done on hours, or is that something you're kind of working towards?
So that would depend on what our clients are looking for. The tightest we've ever, you know, tried to formulate is down to an hour. You know, within an hour. But our release profiles are pretty good. They're all pretty tight. So I dare say we could bring it down a bit tighter. There would need to be some therapeutic goal to do so, but it's a pretty robust technology. So yeah, potentially.
Certainly sounds it. And I suppose kind of 2021, you know, obviously hopefully a better year than last. Anything big on the horizon for you?
Yeah, so we're expanding, and we're hoping to open our own GMP manufacturer facility, whether that be somewhere in Scotland or somewhere within the rest of the UK. I'm not too sure yet, but that's certainly on the horizon for us. That's really exciting.
It is,
just sort of growing nicely.
Yeah, no, very good. Yeah, well, look, I suppose, Calum, you know, you're a busy guy. I know this week has been the busiest you've had in 2 years, I believe you told me.
Very busy.
Very much appreciate you squeezing me in.
No, thank you, Stephen. Thank you.
Yeah, well, look, it was good to catch up again. Thank you for putting your face behind the video.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It's been fun. It's been fun. It's good to chat to people for sure. Stuck at home.
Yeah, keep us sane, as they say. No, superb, Calum. Well, look, again, thank you very much. I'm excited to keep up with the journey BDD are on. And yeah, excited to see what comes next across 2021.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Stephen, and stay in contact.
Thank you, Calum. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.